Hi everybody, I'm Olly. I'm a co-founder of Thirdfort. I love asking this question. How many people in the audience have had a great legal experience buying a house in the UK? Please raise your hand. We've got one. Staggering. Staggering. Good news is we're here to change that. We're Thirdfort and we're revolutionizing property settlement. We started Thirdfort after our friend was defrauded out of £25,000 whilst buying a flat in London early last year. We then started doing some research and we realized that he wasn't the only one. And fraud in property is a big and growing problem. In fact, the Land Registry recently found that it's up over 20 times in 2018 versus 2015. But to understand quite why fraud is such a big problem, you need to look at the property transaction. So those of you who are familiar with it will know that you find your dream place, you then make an offer. Now, that has been radically improved by technology. Think Zoopla, Rightmove, Purple Bricks. But you're still a long way from moving in, around 16 weeks in the UK. And this is property settlement, which is painfully archaic. But what exactly do we mean by that? Everybody says this. Property settlement is archaic. It's got no technology whatsoever. And having spoken to over 100 property lawyers, we've come to realize that the guys that process these transactions use consistently manual processes and have access to very unsophisticated, low technology. It really hasn't changed. If not, it's got worse over the last 20 years. There are three specific parts of this transaction that we've identified as key pain points for the property lawyers. And many of you who have been through the process will be able to identify this. The first one is verifying your identity. Think about the number of times you do this. Once with the estate agent, again with a mortgage broker, and then again with your property lawyer. Each time showing them a passport or utility bill or a bank statement. None of these are effective at spotting fraud or determining exactly who you say you are. Whereas in banking, you can set up a bank account in 2 or 3 minutes on your mobile phone now. It's just insane that people still rely on hard copies of things. The second one is payment processing. You'd be amazed to hear that property lawyers rely on Excel and getting account details over email and using bits of paper flying in all over the place. It's so susceptible to human error, it's crazy. And the third crazy thing about this transaction is that fax and post are still heavily relied on purely because the property lawyers do not trust email because it's so frequently and easily hacked. So combining these together, what exactly does this mean for the industry? Well, property lawyers are getting crushed. In fact, we recently learned that around 40% of them are loss-making. Now, 1 in 2 has gone out of business in the last 10 years, which is just insane. Many of these guys are struggling under the burden of cost. Think about the ever-increasing demands of the consumer to give them a digital experience. They're filling their firms with bodies and paying ever-increasing insurance bills to try and protect themselves against fraud. The experience for the consumer, as we've established, is terrible. It's so opaque and it's so backwards. But we're here to change that, and we're developing a digital technology platform to significantly improve this process for the lawyers and the consumers. I'm going to let Jack talk you through that.
Yeah, sure. So what we've built is a digital property settlement platform, and it has 2 key features. The first is a digital onboarding tool that lets the client take a picture of their passport and a selfie. We go away and do the digital checks, and then we present them to the lawyer. But we also make it shareable so that the estate agent or, for example, the mortgage brokers can see it. So it's done once, it's done in a digital way, and it's clearly much more efficient and actually much more effective as well. The second part is probably more exciting and the core of our business. It's a digital escrow settlement platform, and this basically means that a house buyer and a mortgage lender, instead of sending the money to their lawyer, they can actually send the money to us directly. We hold the money in escrow and can remit the money directly to the seller and their mortgage lender, which basically avoids both lawyers having to hold the money and process that. Our end-to-end escrow system is actually totally automated. We cut out about 90% of the vulnerabilities that are currently being exploited, and also it's fully insured via our insurance provider. So that overall as a platform, the onboarding and the escrow tool means that effectively we can offer much better security, we can offer a digital experience for the customer, and most of all, it gives them that transparency and that control that they want. The escrow part is also particularly interesting because the SOA, the legal regulator, has just changed their rules to allow that to happen, and we're an FCA-regulated firm now, so we can conduct that activity for the first time. We're still a very young business, but have come a long way in a short few months. We are piloting this in the next couple of months with a major law firm and London estate agent. We've just completed, or by the end of this week, hopefully, we'll have completed a 400 grand funding raise. So please come and chat to us at the end. We're looking for kind of collaborators, friends, and anyone that can help us on the journey.